Hi, Felix. I'm doing a couple of last-minute dishes in the background. Make sure we're completely cleared up, ready to go. I am, of course, 2 weeks late to this horrible trend, and I was just learning about it too, like in greater detail. Pop in here. Oop, turn my blow the camera out light off. Also, congratulations, you are officially first, Felix. People aren't paying attention most days, and we don't even get a first. Um, so, yes, indeed, welcome. Uh, Somebody just dropped out. Okay. Um, so last week I was gonna do this, and then I wasn't feeling well, so I didn't do it. I think my stomach was like, you know what? Let's let's just not do this nonsense. Um, but boy, that doesn't deter me. I'm back. I'm back to do this nonsense. Um, I'm going to be clear right at the start for the purposes of don't try this at home. The bottle of NyQuil is a prop, and we are not actually going to put this medical substance into our food today. Um, because it contains acetaminophen, doxylamine succinate, and dextromethorphan, HBr, which are not things that you want to be messing with in your food. Those are not food items. They are not food ingredients. They are controlled substances. Um, so this bottle of NyQuil is our guide for color, our guide for flavor. It is a prop, and it is remaining away from the food. Okay, so disc- opening disclaimer out of the way. Kids, do not put NyQuil in your food. Um, but it doesn't mean we can't still have fun. The we can't put the medications in our NyQuil of our NyQuil in our food, but we can put the flavors. And I have been trying to assemble the things to recreate that iconic NyQuil flavor. I'm just over here wiping down our stovetop before we get over to it. Um, if you're not familiar with NyQuil, and I was not familiar with the flavor of NyQuil up until the U.S. FDA said don't put NyQuil on your chicken, I had never considered putting NyQuil on my chicken. Um, the uh, television news media has been framing it as a TikTok food challenge, but people on TikTok have not been framing it as a food challenge. They've been framing it as a stupid thing to make fun of. So, um, but uh, I'd never even had NyQuil. I'd never even tasted NyQuil. And now I have. I opened this on my own time. I took a little tiny sip of it, but because I'm not feeling ill and I didn't need any aid from it, like a true wine taster, I spit it back out just to get the flavor. And it's a strange mix. It's a strange mix. The first thing when you open it up, the first thing that hits you is licorice, a strong aniseed flavor. So, let's get rid of that. So, get our prop. Move the gentleman. Move the gentleman. Get our prop NyQuil on the side here. Strong aniseed flavor means we're probably going to need anise seed. So anise seed. The next thing that hits you when you take a sip from it is there's a lot of menthol in it, which I assume is supposed to soothe your throat because it's a cough thing. It's a cold and cough medicine. Um, I've decided I'm not going to dump a bunch of concentrated menthol into my food because that sounds gross. So we're going to have the menthol stood in with by this mint. And I wasn't growing any fresh mint this year, so I had to buy some mint. So I've got a good amount of mint. And the final thing that hits you, well, there's two final things that hit you. One, the stuff is alcoholic. It's about 10% alcohol. So that's going to be an element. It's not even actually listed as an active ingredient, even though it's definitely an ingredient. It says on the front 10% alcohol. So NyQuil is 20 proof, which is why you need an ID to buy it. The third thing that hits you, and this was the weird one, is that sort of medical artificial cherry flavor. Am I making sound? I can't see my audio track. Yeah, I'm making sound. Okay. Now the problem with cherry is I don't want to add artificial cherry. I actually couldn't find artificial cherry as an additive. I did pick up some cherry juice. Issue here is it's red, as you would probably expect. It's red. And NyQuil is green. Here's my solution. Here's what I've found. We might add a dash of the red cherry juice to darken it up if we need to. But we're coming up to the holidays, so guess what's being sold now? Weird candied fruits that you're supposed to put in fruitcake, including green cherries. I don't know how they got the red out of the cherry to put the green in the cherry, or if it was kind of a white cherry that there's dyeing green. Candied green cherries, which also is going to bring us some sweetness because the NyQuil has a good amount of sugar in it too. And so those are our core ingredients right here: mint, anise, and green cherries, and chicken, obviously. And I'm going to serve it with a side of fennel. Fennel is a similar anise-like flavor, but in the form of a vegetable. And I don't think I've ever made my own fennel, cooked with my own fennel before. So that'll be a little bit of an adventure. And we're going to throw in some other things. I know I'm going to use tarragon. I don't use tarragon a lot, but it's much more subtle than these other things. It has a very, very faint licoricey flavor to it. But it works well with like savory applications. So that's the plan. And then I might throw in a starch as a side dish. So this is going to be weird, and I don't know. The goal is to try to recreate the elements of the flavor of the NyQuil, but make it edible. Not just make it a garbage mess, but actually make it edible. And the final thing I've got is green food dye. Just in one of these little combo packs. Green food dye. Because that stuff is green, and all the pictures of NyQuil chicken are green. So we're going to see what happens when I greenify this chicken. So we've got it's already in a convenient plastic bag. So I think I'm going to attempt to build a marinade for it, and we'll do a short marinade right here in the bag while I look up other stuff. Start with finding out what these green cherries are actually like up in their weird holiday candy. Ooh, boy, that's a shocking color. The cherry flavor is very subtle in those, which actually is good because I don't want a lot of strong cherry flavor. Because the cherry flavor in the real thing is pretty subtle too. They're sticky sweet. They're very sweet, but they're also a little bit tart. They've got a little bit of a tang to them. I don't hate that. I don't hate that. I'm not sure what the intended application for them is, aside from fruitcake. The picture, they've got one embedded in a chocolate muffin, and then they've got them chopped up into cookies, and both of those sound weird to me. Where's my dish towel? I set it aside. I probably washed it without remembering that I did so. Dish towel. Where are you? Oh, on top of the refrigerator. Threw it on top of the refrigerator. Okay. We're going to need that because we're going to be rewashing stuff as we go. I'm not sure how much of these I need, but I want to dice them up a little bit. I don't want to just throw them in whole like this. So we're going to dig them out. They're going to roll around. They're less sticky than I thought they were going to be. I thought they were going to be just like syrup. That said, they are definitely sticky. They taste like sugar. I think our first challenge is going to be literally attempting to slice these things. That's actually working. They're sticking to the knife quite a lot, but they are still cutting into smaller bits. Okay. Okay. And now I don't want this to be an outright sweet dish. So we need to make sure to balance out any sugar we add to it. And that's quite a bit of sugar. So well, let's get balancing. I'm going to get out a bowl to assemble my elements in. That might be too much cherries, actually. Now that I've minced it up, it looks bigger than it did when it was all whole. We might not end up using all of those. We're going to put the rest of these away. They can be used as a garnish, perhaps. We need the mint. Now, mint already has... Oh, this is really stemmy mint. Mint already appears in savory foods sometimes. So this isn't like wildly out of the realm of existing dishes. This is spearmint as well. But I don't know that it's typically applied the way I'm applying it, so off-season mint is not the prettiest looking stuff in the world either. We're not using the stems, just the leaves. So there's a little bit of waste. Mint is one of those things that I really should just grow myself. I don't use it very often. It grows incredibly well. You can usually just plant it in a garden and literally forget about it, and it will thrive and spread without your intervention. But I didn't do it this year because I don't have any fresh mint aside from buying it specifically for this. The mint could probably be a garnish as well. We're going to throw the mint actually directly into this chicken bag. Because we're going for an infusion. We're not just going for nothing. We're not just going for exterior on our chicken. And I'm not going to throw all of these cherries in there. I need a spoon, not a knife. Never scoop with a knife. We're going to chuck that in there, chuck that in there. Okay. Get out our grinder. Aniseed. That's... Fun fact about licorice candies in the modern day. They generally are not flavored with licorice root. They're flavored with aniseed instead, because aniseed is much cheaper and has the same chemical compound that gives you that licoricey flavor. It's found in a bunch of plants, actually. We're using another two of them today. Fennel and tarragon both have the chemical I forget the name of in them. But aniseed is by far the easiest to grow. They're these little bitty things. They're not technically seeds. They're actually teeny tiny dried fruits. There's a seed inside each one of them. But the flavor comes from the flesh around the seed, not the seed itself. And they grind pretty easily. Get that up in there. Some salt. Some tarragon. Oop. Some concerningly green food dye. And I'm going to throw in 1 drop of blue food dye as well, because it's not really pure green. It's like a slightly teal. So and again, there's also an alcohol component. So I'm throwing in some Chardonnay as our liquid, which immediately has taken on a worrying color. Food dye is flavorless. Keep that in mind. So all the things we add to this do not impact, or of all the things we add to this, it impacts the color alone and not the flavor. Straight wine, I think, is too much alcohol for this to work the way I want it to. So that's warm water. I want cold water. I'm also going to thin it out with some water. Wow, the spots where the food dye landed on the chicken dyed the surface of the chicken hard. Okay. Actually, you know what I've got? Has it re-gelled? It has not. I was cooking last night, and I've got a little bit of this slightly gelled chicken gravy that I made out of some of that leftover stock I made the other day. Since this is a chicken breast and it's low in the old fatty parts, I'm going to throw some of that in there. Ooh, don't spill it. Whatever you do, don't spill it. Okay. The method I'm using to get the air out is to roll it over itself. And then that just kind of has to sit there. And I think we got the color. I think we nailed the color. There's bay leaf floating around in there. We're going to hang on to this. This is going to probably be a base for a sauce as well. So this needs to sit now while we do a few other things before we cook it, just so it can start getting real infused. Although, realistically, I should have probably been doing that overnight. We're going to start thinking about the fennel next. This is a fennel. It comes with a little rubber band. They grow naturally with a little rubber band on them. Let's get out my board. I've had fennel. I've never cooked with fennel. So I'm going to do a little bit of side reading right now. Typically I've had it like split, and then the open side was like grilled to a char. With garlic. You know, we didn't put any garlic in our chicken. Okay, remove the fronds. Quarter the bulb. Okay, I can do that. I can do that. We can do this. So we take these stemmy bits off. You know, fennel fronds could potentially be part of our chicken as well. Definitely don't discard these. We can use them as garnishes or additional vegetable. I'm going to take this knobbly bit off the bottom a little bit. I think it's holding it together, but I don't want quite that big of a knob at the bottom, so I'm going to trim the knob down. Ooh, ooh, boy, this immediately when I cut into it is giving me a strong licoricey smell. This is definitely a element that is going to amp up the licoricey flavor of our finished product. Let's see what this thing looks like when I just crack it right down the middle. Nice. Oh, okay. So you can trim quite a bit of that off because there's a lot of core going up. Wow. It smells like licorice candy. It's so strong when I cut into it. Fascinating. Fascinating. We'll take a couple more of those little frondy bits out. Those are the next generation of fronds that were just about to come out the top. And then it got picked. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. That doesn't look so scary. I wasn't sure what I would see when I broke into this thing, because again, I am unfamiliar with fennel as a whole, but these guys are not super scary. I don't think I'm going to be able to eat all 4 of them myself, but we can try. We need. I'm really kind of winging this one. I planned out. I took the time to plan out the flavors for the chicken, but I didn't take time to plan out really much anything else. I am kind of just going to wing this rest of this, probably a bit too much. Low on olive oil as well, so I'll have to keep an eye on that. Want plenty in the pan though. So the fennel is thick and crunchy. It has a texture to my hand similar to celery, but they're like big sheets of it instead of just little stalks. So I think we need to soften that up, which I feel like is going to take a bit of cooking time. I'm trying to get the oil a nice even coverage. And whole garlic cloves. This recipe I'm looking at calls for whole garlic cloves, not crushed up garlic, which is interesting. And also lemon and tomato. Interesting. Oh, I see what they're doing. I see what they're doing. Okay. Okay, I have a loose concept of what this is now. They want to get a char on one side and then steam it in flavorful liquids until it softens. which I think we can do. Let me get out let me get out some garlic. Let me set these fennels aside for a moment. Looks like I got a gnarly clove in this head of garlic. Come on, garlic. Come on, garlic. Yep, that one's gnarly. I'm not going to break into it, but you can see a little bit of discoloration even through the paper, which means the actual bulb is, right, the actual clove is gone off. We're going to stick with 5 cloves. More garlic? 6 cloves. 6 cloves, because I think I'm going to split them across 2 different applications, I think. Clean up this stuff. Welcome in. Your garlic was like that too. I wonder if it's a late season garlic thing. Okay, let's get these guys peeled the rest of the way. Their skins are very hard on these. I think I'm going to be able to crack them out with the flat of the knife trick better than the roller, because if the skins are very thick and hard, they come off almost like a shell. It's when they're thin and papery that you really need the roller, which then kind of grabs them and peels them away. But yeah, these are papers on these are very thick, so get a little crack in them, and they just kind of open up like a nut. Well, some of them do. So again, I'm not. I'm almost afraid of being too subtle with my flavors, but I'm equally afraid of not being subtle enough with my flavors, because we're trying to recreate the old NyQuil chicken in appearance, but I don't just want to make chicken with green food dye, although we're making chicken with green food dye. I want to capture those flavor elements. And I'm worried now that I might not even have gone hard enough in the marinade. Let's see. A couple of these did not have to be crushed to get them out, and a couple of them did. So we will save the uncrushed ones. Take the little stemmy bits off the other ones. Get off of there. Okay, minced up garlic. Again, we're mincing it up in advance of kneading it, because it will help it awaken the flavors in the garlic. Let those chemicals mingle and get to know each other. So we're gonna now just take it off directly into a holding bowl for holding. Garlic, some uncrushed cloves of garlic that I'm going to apply somewhere. We've also got these fennel stems. Now the fronds are going to end up being used, but I'm not sure about these stems. They seem like celery stems. I'm wondering if they couldn't be used in a similar fashion. They're the only bit of this that I don't have an immediate plan for. I feel like I'm standing around silently a lot more than usual, and that's not ideal. Okay, okay. I'm gonna get a second pan out. I know the chicken hasn't even been in the marinade very long. I feel like I want to turn the marinade into a sauce. I think we can maybe attempt to do a glazing. I don't. I did not actually, for all the thought I've put into the flavors, I didn't actually plan out the process very well here. What happens if you put wine in marinade? Wine marinade for chicken. Um, oh, this one doesn't even that one. I could have just used the wine probably. That one doesn't even have me add any extra water to thin out the marinade. Probably could have just used the wine and the dash of chicken stock. Okay, I don't know. I'm for some reason I'm real confused. I've really confused myself. Because I'm not sure what all I want to make. I feel like this needs a third. The plate needs a third element. It's meat, vegetable, and it needs a starch. And the plate's gonna be very green. So what's the starch element that I should add to this? Oh, squash. Um, Squash. Get out a little bowl to hold these fennel fronds. I think orange is a good counterpoint to excessive green. I'm gonna set those guys aside. Last time I opened one of these guys, it was weird and starchy on the inside, and I threw it away. So fingers crossed this one's nice and brilliantly orange on the inside. It's exactly what I was looking for. Bright orange squash should provide a good color contrast for our plate. And a place to use that gravy that we're going to end up making. Green gravy. But we need to get the skin. Well, can we cook the skin off of these guys? Probably not. It's probably not a good idea. When you do this at home, be sure that the blade does not cut towards your hand. Because if you slip, you're going to take your finger off. So do as I say, not as I do. Take a little notch out of that so I can actually get the knife in there. Should be going this way around the circle so that the knife blade is pointed at the cutting board, so that if it slips, it just goes straight down into the board. For some reason, I feel like there's an eerie silence. Like I'm concentrating, so I'm not chatting enough. I'm also furiously thinking about how to assemble this thing. I also haven't quite decided if I want to do the chicken as a stovetop or as a roast. It's just a chicken breast. It's just one chicken breast, and it's on the small side. So I could, in theory, try to do it in the oven and do a glaze. Squash. Okay. 3 squashes is probably enough. If I do 3 squashes, 2 of these, and then the small chicken breast, that's a pretty substantial plate of food. My pan is hot because I turned the pan on the heat. So now this is a method I've used in the past for sweet potato. These are pretty similar in terms of firmness and color. We'll see if they cook the same. They definitely skate around a little bit. So we're going to start them, and I'm just oil and salt. All they've got is oil and salt. Should. They skate around quite well, so that's good. They'll also take a little bit of the oil out of the pan because I think there's a touch too much for the fennel. How long has that chicken been in there? About a half an hour. That's not super long, but it is a monstrosity. So let's get it out and take a quick peek. It certainly has a color. Oop, and this bag leaks, which is why I rolled it the way I did. Since there's dye in there, I have to be careful. careful with it. I wish I had a pan that wasn't black on the bottom for cooking the chicken in. I don't know. I think maybe I'm subconsciously avoiding this project because oh boy, this is quite the thing I've bitten off here. Um, let's lay down 2 of my fennels in our hot pan. That one and that one. I'm I don't know about this, guys. I don't know about this one, guys. The vegetable parts will be tasty at the very least. We might be coming up against the limits of what my iron gut can stomach. So yeah. Okay. I guess I'm just going to cook for a little bit. Let these guys do their thing. I think we can probably put them to the back left burner, the other large burner. Transfer this guy to the front. Okay, I have to start this chicken, right? We have to actually do this at some point. Chicken also has to be in there long enough to cook through, so I can't put it off forever. I've started cooking the other parts of this. Oh, I know what I'll do. I know what I'll do before I take that out of there. Before I take that out of there, just touched raw chicken, so quick wash of hand. Uh, I should have probably done this initially before the marinade. I'm going to butterfly it. That'll help with cooking it through, and it would have helped get the marinade into the middle part too. Um, the chicken itself has not exited the bag yet. Get us over here. Okay. Well, there's our green chicken. There's our green chicken. I'm going to take this here marinade and save it. If I squinch you together a little bit, you can see I shouldn't have dripped the dye directly on here because it left spots where it landed. And it didn't penetrate very far into the interior as well, which is why I should have definitely butterflied this. But we're going to cook it in some of that colored liquid as well. So split from this side. From this side, I could split from the bottom. could probably split it from the bottom. But no, split from this side. And we'll actually see how far into the interior the dye has gotten by doing it this way. Not super far. Oh, and I did it unevenly. That makes it worse. That means I got to do it again on the other side, but like upward. I have failed at butterflying this chicken. This is the worst job I've ever seen of butterflying a chicken. I guess I'm turning them into cutlets now. Okay, I guess I'm turning them into cutlets now. I was hoping the green would get further in. It's really green on the outside, but it's still very pink on the inside. So we're definitely going to need to add green to the cooking as well. Not sure why I'm washing my hands so immediately. I just instinctively do it whenever I handle the chicken. Also, does not smell extremely NyQuil-y. I think our NyQuil flavors are too subtle. I need to flip my vegetables. Yes, okay. I don't know if you can quite see them, but we've got blackening on the side of the fennel that was facing down, which is the goal. And we've got a good amount on browning on the squash rounds. Okay. So there's oil in the pan and these guys, and we're gonna stick them in the pan. Okay. Okay. I added more shit to that pan. This is a chickeny board and has to go away, away, oh. Okay. Before I accidentally touch it. Okay, I've got a. That's gonna start. Oh, it's too hot. You're too hot. I need to taste one of these fennel stalks raw. Ooh, you know, tastes a lot like licorice, which is what I was going for. Already looks horrifying. That's the plan. That is, in fact, the plan. I don't know if you heard. Fennel stalks. in an attempt to further infuse this, tongs. Oh, I just cleaned the tongs. I think we're getting there. I think we're getting the right look to it. Those fennels are ready to come out. Hi, Werecat. It's NyQuil Chicken. Haven't you heard? It's the latest thing. It's the same color, right? We're going for that. It's also spooky. I did open with a disclaimer. I did open this up with a hard disclaimer. We are not opening the bottle of NyQuil for any reason during cooking. The NyQuil is remaining completely contained within its seal. I have recreated the flavors of the NyQuil. That needs to be hotter. That fennel needs to come off of the stove onto a staging plate. Do not put actual NyQuil in your food. I have it's a combination of green food dye to get that color, fennel, which are these pieces here. I'm hoping they will help, that as they cook, they will infuse into the flavors. Aniseed, green cherry, and mint. Mint is the other element. Because NyQuil tastes like aniseed mint with a little hint of like cherry medication flavor. I'm betting these guys are probably ready to. Oh yeah, those are a little bit. They're a teeny bit over. We're just going to take that burner completely off. And there's some white wine in there as well, which is helping to push the colors into the chicken, as well as give us some flavor. You're allergic to NyQuil. Interesting. I had never had NyQuil prior to this stupid internet thing. So I didn't know what it tasted like. And I realized immediately that it is the height of idiocy to actually eat NyQuil for entertainment purposes. And it is the height of idiocy to put it on chicken. You would just waste the chicken. But I didn't know what it tasted like, so I had to go ahead and taste it. It's a real strange combination. I don't know that there's actual mint in it. There's a shitload of menthol in it. There's a ton of menthol in it. It's basically aniseed and menthol is the flavor. And then there's just this hint of like a sweet fake fruit flavor off the back end. So that's what I got. Sweet fake fruit. They're green cherries. They're actual cherries. I don't know how they made them green. I mean, I know how they made them green. They put a bunch of dye in them. I don't know how they made them not red first. So no worries, as a disclaimer at the beginning, and I suppose repeated whenever need be throughout. No, there is no actual NyQuil in this nonsense. I cutletified my chicken because I was trying to butterfly it and I did it badly, so I just kept going and went straight through the middle. Well, cherries aren't normally, if they were a white fruit, you could just dye them green, but they're normally red, right? So how do you get the red out to the point where you can put green in? Because those colors don't mix. They taste okay. I think that chicken's going to overcook. I'm going to get out another staging plate. I need to reduce this liquid as well. So, where are my tongs? Oh, they're over there on the cutting board. Also, the reason it's green is Halloween. Oh, they do bleach them white, and then... Interesting. Okay. This is chicken breast, so if I overcook it, it goes tough and dry. So we're going to take it out and put it on a staging plate. We're going to add in, where did I put it? There it is. We're going to add in some homemade chicken gravy that was not thick enough. The first time. You know, I just realized I didn't use that garlic. Garlic. I minced it up, I set it aside, and then I didn't actually end up putting it in the thing. Okay. So this is part of our chicken marinade, part of some chicken gravy. I want, now that the fennels are charred on the one side, the backs need to soften up a little bit. So we're going to put them in here, charred side up, so that they can get a little bit of steam going off of that concoction. Since their plate is freed up, I'm going to take these medallions out as well. You know, no, and I have a specific answer for this. I once, as a child, put food coloring in a glass of milk, thinking, why not? It tasted bad. It didn't taste spoiled, but the food coloring did something with the milk where it was actually a flavor, not just, oh, it looks weird. I don't, to this day, know what combined wrong, but some things don't take to food dyes if they're too subtle of a flavor to begin with, I think. I don't know that it was just my imagination, because food dye, the idea of why it doesn't taste like anything is because you add so little of it that it just disappears before you could possibly taste it. But it's not nothing. It's not like it's nothing. They are chemicals. Let's. What I really want to do right now. What I really want to do with it is take all of my remaining marinade, turn it into a sauce. Check these guys for softness. They seem pretty tender. All the fronds are. They got a little flex to them. Okay. I had a bit of a slow start because I didn't plan this out terribly well. Ultimately, and I want to make this tasty, but I also want to make it entertaining. And I think today we flubbed the entertaining part. Okay. I kind of want to get those guys back out of there onto our staging plates. I know they haven't been there that long, but they were already mostly cooked, so. And I know I've added garlic to our thing, which is not a combination of. I'll take it. Garlic is not in the combination from NyQuil. This stuff needs to thicken up. Which it is actually doing. I also need to taste it, actually. Oh, it's on my spatula. So. Tastes like garlic and chicken. That tastes like garlic and chicken, which means we did not hit our points hard enough. Now all of it. Which means I got to turn that back guy off, and then remember not to use it as a rest. Okay. Well, getting out this pot and getting it dirty was ultimately pointless. This gives us a chance to add more. Well, I want to capture the flavors of NyQuil, but make it good. Anise and mint are both in savory dishes, so it's not unheard of. I don't want it to be just the, like, open up a bottle of NyQuil and drink it, because that was harsh and overpowering, which I'm sure is the point. You don't make medicines taste good. So I would like to wake up the anise flavor a little bit. The one that I'm shy, I'm actually, and that's part of the reason I'm pairing this with fennel, because that's going to give us some of that anise flavor without having to get it directly into the chicken. It'll at least be on the plate. That was just some lightly ground anise seed I just chucked in there. The only thing I'm shying away from is the menthol. I'm using mint, but not outright menthol, because I think that sounds terrible. I'm gonna save those last few cherry bits. You'll remember, oh gosh, was it 2 weeks ago now? I made chicken stock. I made I had a big thing of chicken stock going here on the counter when I started, and I was making my own chicken stock. Then we did something with the chicken stock, and I said I was going to cubify it and stick it in my freezer. Part of what we're using today is homemade chicken gravy that I made from the part of the stock that didn't fit into the cubes, because I only had 6 cubes. Here's the cubes. Showing these off quick, because that needs to reduce a little bit. So I've got a little bit of time to show these off. These are my chicken stock cubes. They're a little bit bigger than your standard bouillon cube. These bad boys are the texture of Jell-O at when they're not frozen. So they're quite concentrated. I ended up having to cook it down quite a bit. I initially just poured it. If you remember, I poured it into a loaf pan, with the original idea of letting it gel and then cutting it into slices and freezing the slices. And that didn't work because it wasn't concentrated enough. So I concentrated it down, and then I ended up having not enough for the loaf pans trick. So I put it in an ice cube tray, and I have this fancy. I did it because I have this thing. It's a fancy giant cube ice cube tray. And then my fingers went completely numb, like worryingly numb, while I was trying to get them out of the ice cube tray, because it turns out they kind of stick and they're super cold. Hi, Sizan. Welcome in. I was just talking about my stock. Get back over to the stove and talk about this this green stuff. Hey, here's the chicken. It's green. What do you mean, how is it so green? Have you not seen this stuff? Have you not seen this stuff? That's the color it is. It's green. Green. It couldn't. You can't take the green out of the NyQuil unless you get the red flavor of NyQuil. Anyways, we're just concentrating our NyQuil chicken sauce down into a sauce, and hoping to concentrate our flavors a little bit. And then I would like to put the chicken back in here right at the end to finish. It already had a stint in here. Ooh, that's hot. Caught myself just in time. That back burner is still a little warm. No, disclaimer. We have not actually opened the bottle of NyQuil at all today. and we will not be doing so. There is no actual medication in this food. Do not put NyQuil in your food. That said, my sauce here contains phenyl aniseed, cherry, food dye, chicken stock, garlic, salt, pepper, and mint. Mint. And I gave the chicken about a half-hour marinade, which it colored the outside strongly. It didn't penetrate very deeply into the chicken. And this is that same marinade. So this has chicken marinade in it, as well as the spices we put in the chicken marinade. And then this has also got a dose of, these are chopped up fennel stalks, because they had a pretty strong licoricey flavor that I'm trying to get infused into the sauce here, which is thickening up quite well. The flavor of the stuff so far has been, let's do the spoon test. Oh, it's getting there. The flavor so far that I tasted it has been like a garlic chicken gravy. Ooh. Ooh. Well, it's different now. It's different now. There's a definite, I can taste the fennel, I can taste the aniseed. They're not super, super strong, but they're definitely there. Ooh. It's still dominantly a chicken flavor. Taste as you go, kids. It means that you can correct things when they go horrifically awry. It's oh yeah, it's super green because there's food coloring in it. Okay, we're going to get these guys nestled in there. I think part of the reason it's thickening so well is because of the sugar from the cherries. We're going to get those guys nestled in there. They're already cooked, so we don't need to cook them a lot. We just need to thicken them up. Different good. Oh, somebody. Why didn't that alert me? Well, whoever subscribed, thank you. My subscriber count just went up, but I didn't get an alert. So, I don't know. It tastes a lot like garlicky chicken gravy, but I was. Oop, thank you for the moisten. Moist. It tastes a lot like garlicky chicken gravy, but there is that fun. Ooh, there we go. That's what I was looking for. There is a fun element of the sort of herbaceousness to it. It was a teeny bit salty to be eating by itself, but that's balanced out when you put it on food. Neither the fennel nor the actually the squash was salted. The fennel was not salted though, so I've got unsalted elements to balance out the saltiness of the sauce. You always want to make your sauces a little bit stronger than you think, because when you combine them with with the actual food, they come out less so. Now we got to think about plating. Oh, I'm gonna use a square plate. I'm gonna use one of the big square plates because they're white and I can make my colors pop against the white. So we're gonna use one of these square guys. Tongs. This will track everything. Okay, they look pretty good. I mean, they look horrifically green. They look horrific. I'm not gonna lie. When I say they look pretty good, I mean they look horrific. But they look like what I was going for. So deliberately horrific. We're gonna take one of them, and I need to plate this first try correctly, because there's no way I'm gonna move these things. They're gonna make big green smears on my plate. Nope. Big green smear right on my plate. Okay. Okay. I think the sauce might have actually over thickened slightly. I'm going to put just a tiny dash of my chicken gravy in there, which was a failure at first pass because of the lack of thickening. It was not thick enough. But now, because it's not thick enough, I can add it to something that's too thick and thin it out. Okay, okay. There's one little dab there. I'm going to correct it because it's very, very small. Very, very small. Well, no, I'm going to correct it because it's very, very small, and I can do it now. Okay, perfect. There'll be sauce on the plate too, and that'll ruin this nice plating, but whatever. We've got our charred fennel, which I kind of want to do the same kind of plating as the chicken, but I'm going to resist and do a slight angle. Oh, I got a smear on that one too. Putting this effort into making this this thing not terrible, despite it being literally what it is. Okay, it's a plate of food. Um, uh, this type of plating is not my strong suit. I will say that. The garnishes will help it a lot. We're going to garnish it with that. We're going to garnish it with one of the mint sprigs, since I have so many of them now. And we need the sauce, which... Okay. Hey. Do that thing where you put little dots. Oh, shoot. Okay, one of those dots has to get picked up because it was in the wrong spot. One of those dots landed in the periphery of the plate, which is not where it's supposed to be. Okay. Okay. Oh, I did all that plating with you guys at the wrong side. We're over here. That's my horrifying plate of food. I'm adding greenery as a garnish, and it's the greenest thing in the world. Um, oh, I know. One last garnish. One last garnish. I feel like the speckles don't look great when you're looking directly at them from above. They look a little bit better at an angle. One green cherry. Actually, we should have those guys all be over there because those are our flavor elements. Those are our flavor elements in the corner telling you what the rest of this nonsense is. Okay, I made a thing. I did taste a little bit along the way, so I'm not going to be completely caught off guard by this, but I will let you know how it all comes together after glamour shots. I, I'm going to be honest, I don't think today was one of my best shows. I think this is a gimmick item, and I should have plotted it out better. I came into this winging it a little bit too hard. I'm trying to take pictures of this to make it not quite so terrifying. Okay. Okay. I've had more long, awkward silences today than I think I've ever had. Okay, there's the thing. Let's get out. I don't even have any eating utensils for it. That's how unprepared I was. Let's give it a taste as the finished product and let you know how it is. I'm glad you would eat it. I did attempt to make it edible. That was the goal. Still white on the inside. Whoa. Okay. Whoa. Hold on. Hold on. Hold the phone. Gotta add some NyQuil. No, I'm actually gonna sniff the NyQuil real quick to a comparison. You know, in the end, I think if you poured a bunch of NyQuil into garlic chicken gravy, you'd end up with something like this. When I took that bite just now, tastes like garlicky chicken. It's tender because it was cut thin. I could cook it through without overcooking it. The sauce is sticky. The sauce is sticky from the sugars and very savory. But there it comes in. It comes in with that anise fennel licoriciness. Not a ton. Like I didn't just douse this in NyQuil and call it a day. Not a ton, but it's definitely there. And then I can taste the mint. Not mintiness. I'm not getting like a cooling menthol flavor, but I can like the herbaceous part of the mint is coming through just the barest hint of it right at the end. I can't taste the cherry at all. Literally, I can't taste the cherry at all. It's not in there, as far as I can tell. It's just adding sugar. It's making this sticky, thick ness. For those of you following along at home, be careful eating this. This is green food dye, and it will dye everything around. Let's taste the fennel itself. The fennel was my ace in the hole for getting that licoricey flavor in there because it has that. Crunchy, but cooked through. And that has much more of that licoricey flavor. Again, not sweet. This isn't sweet at all, so it's not like eating a piece of licorice. And it's also much milder, but it's definitely there. That actually goes super well with the sauce. I'm gonna. The fennel was unseasoned aside from the oil. It actually goes super well with some of this sauce because the sauce is kind of salty sweet. So I'm gonna load these guys up with remaining sauce because that is where the sauce I think is shining. It's right on those guys. And the final thing, and the thing that has had the least done to it, these are butternut squash medallions, cooked in the way that I cook sweet potato medallions, which I don't think is typical for people. And that's a good counterpoint to the rest of this plate. It's just sort of a nice, soft starch, mild flavor, a little bit of toastiness because I overcooked a little bit, but that turns out to be just what it needed. The fennel is very crunchy. I will say that. Get your fiber out of that one. Perhaps could have stood to be steamed a little bit longer in that sauce. Or maybe just had the outermost frond pulled away because it's maybe a teeny bit tough. And I think it's just the outer frond that's a teeny bit tough. Okay, well, there you have it. It certainly looks like a thing. The flavors came together. They are more subtle than I was shooting for. And I think that's probably a good thing. But here we are. Here we are. Here we are. Here's the thing. That's the thing. And if I really want cherry, I've got cherry juice. I can have a glass of cherry juice on the side to give me that cherry flavor. If you want to make this at home, now I guess you know how. Fennel is probably the best way to get a big jolt of that licorice flavor into the dish. But I did come through, and it's in the sauce 3 ways, and it just kind of come through as a hint. So, because there's also tarragon in there, and tarragon has a little bit of that in there too, not a ton, but a little bit. And I thought that would add to the flavor, add to the savoriness, while giving me a little bit of that flavor, and it did. This plate could also probably use a little something with a bite, with a spice somewhere. There's a little bit of black pepper in the sauce, and that's it. But overall, that was an adventure. That was an adventure. I did a thing. This is going to look nice on the old pictures. Oops, not that one. That one. Okay. Well, let's see who's live that I can go irritate with our heap of people. By which I mean all 5 of you. It's Halloween. We just did a scary thing. Let's go see a scary thing. We're going to go visit LaFay, who is playing the Mortuary Assistant, which is a game that has been sweeping Twitch by storm. It's a super scary game all about the mundane day-to-day work of working in as a mortician. No supernatural things at all. Unfortunately, there's no food in it. When Cult of the Lamb swept Twitch, I was able to jump in and make a food from it. There's no food in this one, so. But yeah, that was fun. That was fun. I got a decent thing out of it. I'll see if I can think up any more Halloween-y themed things for the rest of the month. Otherwise, glad having you here. I still have unresolved plans to make my channel better. I did hear. Oh, here I'll do a quick update before I'm out. Well, no, it's non-news. I won't bore you with non-news. Here comes the countdown. I'm just gonna wave until you guys leave.